Coming to you from the Big Island of Hawaii, it's the Songs and Stories Podcast. And now, here's your host, Steve Roby.
Aloha and welcome to the Songs and Stories Podcast, the show where we interview the Big Island's top musicians. On today's show, I'm very honored to have the multi-talented music couple of Michael Surprenant and Sarah Bethany. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Steve. It's an honor to be here.
It's great to have you on. Gosh, I don't know where to start. Sarah, you're a singer-songwriter, producer, arranger, and Michael's a producer, drummer, studio engineer. I'm sure I'm leaving a few things off there, and I'm sure there's a few awards that I've missed or overlooked, but we'll get to that a bit later. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad to have you on.
Thank you.
Well, let's start with your music backgrounds, how you became interested in music in the first place, and let's start there.
All right. Well, for me, it started very young. I think around 5 years old, my dad bought the first piano in the household, really for himself to learn to play. And as he's learning to play, tinkering around, I would be curious and come and sit next to him, and he'd show me a few things here and there until eventually I decided I wanted to take lessons myself. So I started with piano lessons as a little girl and stuck with that for about 10 years at home. And then I decided I wanted to go into the university setting and study music in my late teens, early 20s. Graduated. This is in Kansas City, the University of Missouri, Kansas City Conservatory of Music. I studied there a mixture of music composition and piano performance and very little bit of vocals. So I started off as a pianist, and it was later, not very long ago actually, probably only about 10 years ago in my early 30s, I discovered my voice. So I added that in the mix, put it all together, and here I am singing and playing piano.
And you have such a beautiful voice. It's a shame we had to wait so long to hear it.
Agreed.
Oh, thank you. Actually, my mom noticed I could sing when I was really little, like 3 years old. It's in my baby book. As a 3-year-old, that's something that my mom remembered about me. But somewhere along the way, maybe through the awkwardness of just being a human being and being a child and being a teenager, I just didn't think I have what it takes to be a great singer. So I kind of squashed that down. Realized later that I was doing that. And so as I let it come forth, it's been kind of ironic because I spent like 30 years focusing on piano. But now I realize that my gift, my main focus, and my greatest love is singing. So I'm not sure why we all had to wait so long, but
It was worth the wait.
Oh, thank you.
And Michael.
This is the one memory that I have that just really stands out is when I got into 4th grade in Pepperell, Massachusetts. This is our middle school. They sent home the little piece of paper that I can still see the piece of paper in my mind. It had a list of all the instruments that you could play if you wanted to be in the band. And I had my eyes just instantly go right to the drums. And I got off the bus, and we had a house on a little road called River Road in Pepperell, and it had like a blue stone kind of curved driveway that come down to the porch where you enter the house. And I ran down that driveway, literally holding it up in the air, flapping in the wind, yelling at my mom that I wanted to play the drums. And she had me sit on the sofa. I remember the sunlight coming in on my back, and she said, "Michael, you're not gonna play the drums first. You have to learn how to do something melodic first." And I don't know where she got that instinct. She's not a musician. It was just something that was there for her. And I said, "Okay, well, if I can't play the drums, I'll play the trumpet." So I ended up being a trumpet player in the band. And I didn't know until many years later, but my band director was his name was Kevin Tellier. We're still in touch today. He was one of those just extraordinary band directors. Very, very hard on us, but in a way that just really worked. You know what I mean? Like, he was a little bit militant, expected 10 times more than we ever knew was even possible of ourselves. But anytime we went to a competition, we won, and we, after several years of that, we started realizing, okay, this guy knows what he's doing, you know what I mean? And I've always felt eternally grateful to Mr. Tellier because he really instilled a lot of discipline and made it feel okay for us to be really passionate about something because he was so passionate.
When did you transition to drums?
Well, I could never, ever take my eyes off the drum section. Even though I was playing trumpet, my eyes were always kind of watching the drummers. So when I was in late middle school, maybe 8th grade, I got a job and saved money and went and bought myself a drum set. And I started just trying to play along with records. Didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't have any lessons. And then in high school, there were some older kids in high school that could play that were willing to teach me some things. I even had a few lessons with them. And every day my mom would have to stop me from practicing. Like I just would not stop playing the drums. And she would just say, Michael, I'm sorry, but 4 hours is all I can handle. I need you to stop, you know? So I think she saw that was really where my love was the drums.
It all depends, I guess, too. I used to play drums, and I would drive my lower neighbors crazy, and they would get a broom and they would bang on the ceiling for me to stop. So, and plus, if you live in apartments, where can you practice? So
yeah, that makes it a lot harder. Yeah, I was in a basement, but still, all of our neighbors could hear me, and I'm sure it seemed pretty relentless.
Well, let's talk about, was there a music moment in your early life that influenced you to want to pick up an instrument or to play or to learn more about music? Was there a moment that happened that you can just like point your finger at and say, that was it?
So are you asking me, Steve, or Sarah?
Both.
Okay.
Okay, well, let me think about this because there's so many moments. Can I think of just one? I guess if I had to just narrow it down to the first moment, I think it was when my dad brought that piano home and I just started figuring out how to play some simple things on the sheet music. I just was so curious, like, what is this amazing thing, music? And it just stirred something in me that continues to this day, where music is like the most pure form of expression, I think, that for me as a human being that I found.
Mm-hmm. And Michael?
I hope this speaks to your question. The thing that is really the most powerful memory I had, because it never even occurred to me that I could be a musician until I was my 12th, the beginning, I guess it was the summer before I started 12th grade in high school. My mom came up to me at home and said, Michael, what are you planning on doing after high school? And I mean, I could not have had less of an idea as to what I was going to do after high school. I literally just had no idea. And she said, well, are you thinking about going to college? And I said, well, I'm just kind of assuming I'm going to go to college, but it's just because I don't really know what else to do. And she said, well, have you ever thought about going to Berklee College of Music? And I said, no, I haven't. And she kind of laughed and she said, Michael, it's the only thing you like doing in your whole life. It's the only thing that you enjoy is music. Why don't you consider going there? And it's kind of funny because I lived in Massachusetts. So that's where Berklee is. It wasn't even very far away. It just, for some reason, it just didn't dawn on me. But man, I'll tell you, my whole life changed in that conversation. I mean, I started getting better grades. I started practicing even more. And that was really the game changer for me when just the possibility of getting into Berklee. And I didn't have any idea how intense that was going to be until I got there. But
I just thought of something I wanted to add, if that's okay, just about my experience realizing that my life's focus was music, because I always knew that I was a musician. I started so young. It's all I've ever known. And but I didn't really think that I would have music be my career until I did have a moment when I was in college. I originally went for architectural engineering, which is kind of funny because that's like the exact opposite of music. I went to a very academic high school, all girls Catholic college prep school, and 0 people in my class were going to school for any art-related career. So I just felt like I was supposed to do something very academic like that. So I started with that, and it only lasted 1 semester, and then I just took a break from school completely, and I got this job at a nursing home doing housekeeping. They had this room in the nursing home with a piano, and it was like a chapel where the residents there could go and pray. And I found myself every break that I had, I would go and play that piano. And sometimes some of the residents would come in there and they listened to me play. And then I got to actually perform for the residents in a more formal way. And through these precious elderly people, and how I noticed they came alive and kind of awakened something really beautiful inside of them. And I witnessed this happen because of the music. And it just kind of clicked. Like, okay, music is the most amazing thing that I have in my life. So this is what I want to study in school. This is what I want to dedicate my life to.
So that was the moment.
That was the moment, I think. Yeah.
Well, I guess the $40,000 question now is, how did the two of you meet and come to call the Big Island your home?
I moved over here from the Bay Area. I'm not from the Bay Area, but I was living there for many years before coming to Hawaii. And Michael, you were in Las Vegas, of all places.
Yes, I know. I love to.
That's a
try
whole
not
other
to
story.
remember that,
But we came here separately to the Big Island, and we met several years after we had already been here. We met at our daughter's school, Malama Lama Waldorf School, in their little kindergarten playground area.
Yep, right in the playground area.
Right in the playground, we met, and our girls were getting ready to start first grade a few weeks later, and we just started talking about music. Pretty quickly, we both realized that we were musicians.
It was literally within a matter of days of when I officially started the studio. You know, I was talking to her about how I'm starting the studio, and she was talking to me about how she had songs that she had been trying to work on with some other musicians on the island, and, you know, just trying to find her way in terms of actually having something produced. And so that was just like, you know, that spark definitely lit, and we just kept, you know, talking to each other. Eventually she came up to the studio, we started working on music, and, you know, the rest is history, as they say.
I like the part of the story about how we were friends for a couple of years. Just really good friends. Just took the time to get to know each other, explored our musical friendship. For me, that was a perfect way to start a relationship with already a very grounded friendship in place.
Yeah, and our daughters were best friends at the school before Sarah and I even knew each other. You know, so there was just a lot of natural symbiosis going on there.
Yeah, definitely feels meant to be.
Tell me about your songwriting process. You know, it's one thing to collaborate with somebody, you know, here on the island from another part, but you guys are in the same room. How do you put a song together? How do you work together?
Sarah does have extraordinarily keen production sense. Like, she really, and it's very different from mine, but I've never tried one of her ideas and not been like, yes, that is just an awesome idea production wise. So it's my favorite thing to do in the world is produce a song with my wife. It just doesn't get any better than that. We just work so well together. The songwriting process, I really feel like, is probably the scariest part of the process for both of us. You know, we care so much about it, and we want to make the biggest difference we possibly can with every song. So, you know, I think we probably take an unfair amount of time in terms of anyone that's waiting for our music. We really make them wait a long time because we, you know, maybe even overthink it. But, you know, a third piece to the puzzle that I just want to mention, and then I'll let Sarah talk about it, that has really become huge, is having become such good friends with Drew Daniels. He started, you know, sort of infusing a third piece into our songwriting process that has been so inspirational and empowering, and we just feel like, you know, kissing his feet every time we see him. He's been such a blessing to us. So I'll let you talk a little bit about how that's been going.
Sure, okay. Michael and I, and as well as other collaborators over the years, we've written many songs, but it really wasn't until Drew Daniels came into our world that we started coming up with music that I felt like I could put out into the world and share. Our songwriting process, the three of us, really started around the eruption time, 2018 eruption. Drew came into the studio and we recorded and produced a song for him relating to the eruption, which was really powerful.
It's called Our New Life.
Yeah.
Yeah, great song.
And it was during that recording and production process with Drew that we really realized that just how special he is. So we asked him if he'd be interested in collaborating on my album as a writer. And right away he said, "Oh, I'd love to." So I think it was even the next day he sent me a song, a fully written song with guitar guitar chords, and he said, "What do you think of this song?" And I said, "I love it. Let's start here." So in order for it to be a co-write and a collaboration, I really felt like I wanted to change some of the things and add some things in there. So we created a song called Our Inheritance. That was our first song that'll also be on the album. It was just such a natural, easy process, the three of us working on it together. So we decided to try another one. And I think we have 8 or 9 now.
Right.
That we've started.
Is the album close to completion?
It depends on what you mean by close, I guess.
No, it's, I wouldn't say, I think that the writing process is close to being complete. And there are about 3 songs that I feel like are very close to being finished and ready to release. And it will take some time to work on the production process for the other several songs that we're doing.
One of the tracks you sent over for us to discuss on the show is called Illuminate. Tell me about the backstory on that one. And I believe Drew is also makes an appearance on the song as well.
Yes, Illuminate is a song that Drew sent over to me in a skeletal format. All the lyrics were there, and a basic chord structure was in place. And what I did is I took that song and removed a guitar and created a piano part to go with it. I changed the chords because the way that he wrote it, the chords, I think there were just 3 or 4 chords repeating all the way through, and I felt like it needed to have some more variety in the harmony. So I experimented with all kinds of different chord patterns, decided on something, and then I thought, well, this song would be really nice as a duet. So, but the original melody that he came up with was too low for my vocal range, and rather than just change it to a different key, I decided to create a new melody that would fit my voice. So Drew wrote all the lyrics for that song, and I wrote the harmony, the piano harmony, and came up with a new melody for the vocals, and created the duet.
What's the song about?
Illuminate is about becoming more light, becoming more aware of life and yourself through hard work and through difficulties and challenges in life.
Well, let's give a listen to it now. It's called Illuminate. It's from Sarah Bethany's upcoming album, and you're listening to it on Songs and Stories.
Fan the flames, we grow through pain, like a seed in the darkness pushing towards the light. Save your complaints, there will be better days. Don't give away your power, don't lose your will to fight. Embrace the blaze, like a phoenix to a flame. Find your light inside and illuminate, illuminate, illuminate. Stand strong and stay when you wanna run away. Root down, rise up on, be like a tree sway. Embrace the blaze, like a phoenix to a flame. Find your light inside and illuminate, illuminate, illuminate. wanna say that everything will be okay, but tomorrow's another day to make things better. Feel your feelings now, but don't let them drag you down. Channel the waves, let your light escape. Illuminate, 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 illuminate,
And we're back with Sarah Bethany and Michael Surprenant here on Songs and Stories. And let's get into some questions about these current times here, these current crazy, unusual times there. Has the pandemic affected any of your music plans this year?
Definitely. Back in March when all this started, our gig calendar just got completely wiped out to zero, which was a bizarre feeling of many things. There's a full spectrum because for obvious reasons, there are negative aspects of it. But the positive aspect that I wasn't expecting, that I didn't even realize, was actually kind of a sense of relief. I got a big break, which I didn't know I needed. So I appreciated the break. Although now that so many months have gone by, I am feeling a little bit lost. Like, okay, who am I now that I'm not on stage anymore? So it's a little bit of an existential crisis that's brewing from this whole thing.
Yeah, I think we're all going through kind of a discovery period.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Discovery.
Yeah, it's been interesting.
Because you guys played like you did on a regular basis, the Hawaii Songwriting Festival and the Kona Jazz Fest and things at Cuckoo Out Studio. You were out in the public. That's how I first kind of discovered your music.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we love playing for people. That's, that's to me what speaks to the heart of every musician is, being able to do what you love for people that are enjoying it. It's, it's amazing. That's our favorite thing to do for sure.
Yeah, we had a house concert at the Pyramid House over there in Kona scheduled. That was probably my biggest blow. That was the most devastating one to me because that performance was one of the last with Matt Spencer, our amazingly talented music partner who moved to the mainland. We didn't get to have our final farewell concert together.
Oh, that's a shame. Well, I've seen both of you mentor and tutor some of the young musicians here on the island, which is, a wonderful thing that that the music will carry on here. You want to talk about working with some of our younger, talented young folk here?
Sure. Yeah. It's
absolutely.
It's such a joy and an honor to be working with young people and inspiring their music process. I have a few young students that have stood out to me as songwriters, and those are the ones that I've also been sharing with Michael in the music studio to kind of partner up and give these students an opportunity to try recording some of their own original material in the studio and just get that ball rolling. So most of the students that I'm referring to are teenagers. So there's a particular fondness I think that I have for teenagers because it's such a precious time in life where there's so much uncertainty and there's so much potential. And the energy is really just primed for a good mentor to come in and help shape. So that's what my role is.
And there's not really that opportunity in the schools, is there? With their music programs?
Not very many opportunities in Hawaii in the public school system for music. There are a few schools that have some really nice music programs, But then there are also many schools that the music program is the first thing to get cut. So I just help keep the music alive when the schools aren't able to do that.
That's great. And Michael, you've worked with that young drummer, Nick Wong, over on the Kona side, right?
Yes. So blessed to have worked so much with Nick. I consider him a dear friend, and his whole family, really extraordinary people. Nick had studied for, I'm not sure how long, but a few years, I think, with Luke Klepsch as a drum teacher. Luke, of course, is an extraordinarily well-rounded multi-instrumentalist. It seems like he can pretty much play anything. And Luke used to come to me to sort of make sure that he was giving proper technical tutelage when he started having kids that were more advanced. So he would sort of come to me every once in a while and have a drum lesson with me as a drum teacher, and just make sure that he's really got the nuance of the technical stuff. And Nick was one of his main motivations for coming to me. And then at some point he just kind of passed Nick off to me. And man, to have a student that could spend seemingly an endless number of hours asking me questions and talking about drums, it's like a dream come true for me. There's not very many people that are willing to spend 6 hours straight with no break talking about drums. But Nick is definitely one of them. And it's been just such an extraordinary joy to work with somebody with that much drive and desire. And I think one of the things that has always been important to me to say to young musicians, and I really think that Nick exemplifies this point very much, is throughout my entire music career, from a young student all the way till now, I haven't really seen very much evidence of what we refer to as talent. In other words, somebody who has some sort of a ability to do something that a lot of other people don't have. Instead, what I see is somebody like Nick who just has, a lot of drive, is willing to do a lot more work maybe than a lot of my other students. I mean, I certainly don't have any other students that have practiced. His parents have told me there have literally been days where 11 hours straight he will be in his studio working on stuff that I've given him, and they have to bring him food because he won't even stop to eat, Yeah, it's dedication, but I really think that his skill level as a drummer, as a guitar player, as a piano player, as a singer, as a producer, all of these things are a function of the time that he has put in and the commitment that he has put into developing the skills in that area. I just really want all young musicians to know that if they see somebody who seems like, that they're out of reach and they could never get to that level, that is absolutely not true. It's just about the hours, just putting in the hours and figuring out a way to put that kind of practice time in. And I just think that Nick, he's extraordinary in every way, but his skill level at his age is, I feel like he's already blown way past me. At this point, I'm just kind of watching with a big smile on my face and just saying, yeah, man, go buddy.
Well, Michael, tell me about Mana Music Studio. It's your studio. You've had it for 10 years now. Where's it located, and what's the setup like there? Okay, well, we're in Hawaiian Paradise Park, which is in the small town of Kea'au, which is about 20 minutes outside of Hilo on the east side. I don't know what it is about it, but there's just kind of a vibe in here that really just seems to make people feel really comfortable. It is built onto our house that we live in. I've really done my homework over the years. I've invested in a lot of world-class gear. I kind of, even from the beginning, having originally learned how to produce music back in New York City, being in multi-million-dollar studios and seeing these gigantic mixing boards and everything, even though I came from that, when I started putting my own studio together here, I was just like, everything seems to be getting so digital and so in the box, as they say, meaning, can pretty much do everything on a computer. I really felt like if I could go through the eye of the needle in terms of my discomfort of not having a mixing board, I really think
in the long run, it's going to pay off, especially in Hawaii, where the weather can be so brutal on a lot of the equipment. So, and that's really paid off for me because I've been able to put more money into interfaces and preamps and even a lot of the really great software production tools that are out there. I've been able to sort of invest in those things. And so the studio is about, 450 square feet. It just has a really nice vibe. I've had a number of people say, dude, this is kind of like the Muscle Shoals of Hawaii, And I was just like, wow, I can't imagine a more, a more meaningful compliment than that, honestly. So I really just feel so blessed.
I've seen the studio and been inside it, and it's a very comfortable feel to it. Well, let's get back to the music. Discuss one of the other songs you sent in called The Uncomfortable Truth. Tell me about that one.
Okay, well, I think the chorus speaks for itself. We've gotten comfortable, wasting our precious youth, young and conformable, dodging the uncomfortable truth.
Yeah.
I think the truth can be uncomfortable quite often. So this is just a song conjuring up more of a willingness to face what's uncomfortable and being comfortable, not the goal. Letting ourselves be uncomfortable and comfortable as life's waves and changes come and go. The lyrics of this song, Drew and I wrote together. Drew wrote the chorus and I wrote the verses lyrically. And then Michael came in and he did his production magic. And Michael has a way with rhythm that is so special. He comes up with the craziest rhythms I've never heard. I would have never imagined. This particular song, the rhythms were, Michael, you have to correct me if I'm wrong. The
Okay.
rhythms were inspired by one of our favorite bands called Hiatus Coyote.
Talk about that. I mean, the time signature is a little different. That's what I like about their music is just it's so unexpected.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. Yeah. Sarah and I are just such huge fans of that band. We just absolutely love them to pieces. But what they do a lot is they sort of superimpose different feels over the time signature that they're in. They're not usual. I mean, they do have some odd time signatures every once in a while. But most of the time, when you feel like they're going into a different time signature, they're really just playing a polyrhythmic feel over and over and over. So it feels like they're in a new time signature, but they're really not. They're still feeling the original tempo. And at the end of The Uncomfortable Truth, I have a thing that just kind of came to me. It just really fit where it feels like it goes into a 16th note shuffle out of the 4/4 in sort of a polyrhythmic relationship. But it really isn't. It's still just in 4/4 the whole time. I don't know. It just really came together on that one. And there are a lot of syncopated kicks and stuff in there as well that kind of came to me. But it's pretty much just 4/4 all the way through.
All right. Well, I think we well teased that song. So let's give a listen to The Uncomfortable Truth here on Songs and Stories.
We've gotten comfortable, dodging the uncomfortable truth. King Solomon's vast knowledge of truth tells us, proverb guided approach to justice, which is fluid and poetic, because truth is a liquid. We've gotten comfortable, wasting our precious youth, numb and conformable, dodging the uncomfortable truth. Living silver made that sudden burst to flame, like the flowers underneath. uncomfortable, dodging the uncomfortable truth. Things that will never be unseen. I can't hide the truth. Yeah, I gotta just come clean. I done wars. These wars were never about being free, just profiteering and control of the economy. We just all complied while we occupied countrysides worldwide, turning blind eyes. I've been a million places, seen civilian faces. I know exactly why every other nation hates us. We're killing innocent people for their resources. Armed forces without repercussion or recourse. Raping, stealing, don't blame me. His three sources. Confessions of an economic hitman. Behold the pale horse. Gary Webb's Dark Alliance. Genocidal science. Triggers something deep and dark inside us. Plenty know, but still kids enroll. I hope this story helps some truth unfold.
We've gotten comfortable, wasting our precious youth. Numb and conformable, dodging the uncomfortable truth. We've gotten comfortable, wasting our precious youth. Numb and conformable, dodging the uncomfortable truth. Dodging the uncomfortable truth.
Are you working on any other projects besides the album?
Yes, plenty of stuff. We're still working on Drew Daniels' album. Just finished up Jesse Snyder's record. Lopaka Roots, of course, his album is almost done right now. I've been having a lot of fun working on that. We've been collaborating with Pat Skilson and his wife Scarlett on some projects as well. And beyond those, I have 15 other projects that are coming in. But the thing I just want to say is that because Sarah is my wife, I always feel a little bit reluctant to recommend using Sarah on projects because I don't want people to feel like they can't say no. You know, I really don't ever want any artist to feel like they have to do something. You know, I'm really committed to them just being fully expressed. But most of the time, something ends up coming up and Sarah ends up being asked to do something or another. And I just kind of feel like she's kind of the ace up my sleeve production-wise, because everything she's ever added to any album I've produced has been such a huge level up on the overall sound of the album. And I really think that if you were to ask any of the artists, they would all totally agree with what I'm saying as well. So it's really just so cool to be working with so many great local artists and just having, you know, Sarah and I as such a strong team supporting these people. And
that's great. Yeah. I don't think the rest of the world or even, you know, the mainland knows the diverse talent that we have here on the island. So it must be must be such a joy to bring these people in the studio and draw out their amazing talents.
Oh yeah, there's just nothing like it. There's nothing like it. It's so, and the fact that we are as far removed from the rest of the geographical part of the country is, I think we kind of almost have a little bit more reverence for how precious our friendships and our musical connections and stuff really are. I think we know that we don't have thousands and thousands of other options to choose from. You know what I mean? We have like this pool of really committed, talented musicians. And I, you know, from my perspective, having made my living in New York City for many years, it's a pretty small pool here. So we just really treat each other with so much respect and really find the best person for the job in every situation. And it's really amazing.
Well, tell me, where can folks find your music and what Mana Music Studio offers? Are there some samples online?
Yeah, if you go to manamusicstudio.com, I don't even know how many, 20 or so samples listed that you can listen to right on the front page of the studio website. I was originally going to put an equipment list, and I just thought to myself, you know what? Most people don't have any idea about equipment, especially in this modern day, that who's an artist coming in to record, they wouldn't know one preamp or one interface from another, but they would know if when they listen to it, it sounds good to them or not. So I started only putting up things that I've produced that are either in a TV or in a movie or on the radio. And that way they have a sense of that, I'm really mostly just doing broadcast quality production work. So everything that's up there right now has had that level of commercial success, and just gives people a sense of what it is we do here.
And Sarah?
You can find my music on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel called Sarah Bethany Music. And currently the videos and recordings on there are all covers. And that is soon to change as we release our original music. But there are some really nice recordings on there, mostly made by Michael. Michael has a knack for live recording as well, not just studio recording, but he can do some really amazing, beautiful, professional live audio and video recording. So I feel very blessed to have a partner who can help me with these things, because those are areas that I don't know anything about. So thank you, Michael.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I also have a website, sarahbethany.com, where we will be posting our new releases as they come.
And Michael, what's your website?
monamusicstudio.com, and I also have monamusicandmedia.com, which sort of encompasses all the photography and video projects that I work on as well.
And Mana is spelled M-A-N-A?
Exactly, M-A-N-A, yep.
Just want to help the folks out there. I'll put a link in the show description below, so you can go there and check it out. And Michael, you were briefly, you were telling me that you've expanded into some video and visual parts of your studio.
Exactly, yeah. I've been doing a lot of video production work now. Some of it is shooting multi-camera live performances, but most of it is more producing music videos for people who not even always necessarily have they produced their music with me even, but it just, I just think I have, I just have such a reverence for musicians, and I just think they, a lot of people just really feel comforted by how much care I put into everything I do to support their music. So yeah, I've been doing, photo shoots and video shoots, and I do all the editing and color correction and all that kind of stuff too. So
you guys are busy.
Yeah, we really are. We really are busy.
Did we mention we have a 4-year-old?
That'll keep you busy too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to add before we go?
The only thing I just would really like to say, Steve, is really, I want to say thank you to you. I just cannot say enough how much you have elevated the perception of our musical community here. I really feel like all the work that you have done has taken the ambiguity of our musical offerings and musical community here, and really put such a professional face on it. And I just feel so proud of our community, and I just think that the contributions that you have made are such a huge part of that. I just really appreciate everything you've done for this community.
Yeah, same here, Steve. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Those are very kind words. My hope is that the rest of the world is listening and watching what we're doing.
Yeah,
it's one thing to
so too.
Create all this beautiful music, but let's tell them that the Big Island, has really got some amazing talent here.
Yeah, we hope so too.
And great folks like yourselves to work with. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks so much for having us, Steve.
All right. Aloha.
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 Thanks for listening to the Songs and Stories podcast. Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. We'll see you next week on Songs and Stories. Aloha.